Hi there, Billy Angel here, your storyteller. And as you would expect, I got a great story for you today. Young David has become famous throughout all 12 Hebrew tribes, more or less overnight, when he killed Goliath, the Philistine giant. It was an amazing turnaround. King Saul was in big trouble. He was this close from getting completely thrashed by the Philistine army, and then David arrived, and all of a sudden the whole thing turned around. Saul had a great victory. So David was invited to come and join the king in his palace, and there is young David sitting at the royal table. Everybody loves this young guy from Bethlehem. So David makes friends with the king's eldest son, Jonathan. He gets married to the king's youngest daughter, Michal, and he makes a lightning career in the king's army. I mean, there is just no stopping him, this very talented and charismatic shepherd from Bethlehem. Until one day, out of the blue, suddenly the king throws his javelin at David, who's playing for the king, playing music. I mean, the javelin misses him by a quarter inch. David's got to run for his life. The king is so angry, he sent his soldiers after him. Get him, kill him, kill him. David jumps over the fence into the woods. It is at night, and he's out, running into the wood, running into the night. What's he going to do? Where's he going to go? Well, he figures if he can find a haystack somewhere, he could just climb in there and sleep for a few hours. That's what he does. And then at first light, when he comes out of it, he figures, why not go to Samuel? If there's anyone who can help him, it would be Samuel. So he makes his way to Ramah, which is not too far from Gibeah, and he gets there. He asks around. He's never been to Samuel's house, but people tell him, oh yeah, over there, that's the prophet's house. Knocks on the door, Samuel appears. David, what brings you here? So David tells Samuel the story. Well, the prophet is not even all that disturbed. Yeah, Saul, King Saul. Yeah, he's a little unpredictable, isn't he? Well, you've picked an interesting day to come visit me. Why don't you join me? I'm working with my local prophets today, and hey, you can take a look at what we do there. So David and Samuel walk across the town of Ramah to a place called Naioth, where Samuel is working with about 20 young prophets. He's teaching them, training them, this kind of thing. Samuel's got a few other prophet schools. Yeah, he is kind of working away at it. So Samuel says, okay, David, we are praising God here today. We will speak some psalms, speak wisdom. I mean, this is your kind of thing, isn't it? You've written a few poems. You've written a few songs. You're a musician. What do you think? Yes, Samuel, on any other day it'd be great, but don't you think Saul might hear that I'm here? He might send his soldiers here. What are we going to do if they get here? Oh, don't you worry about that. No. Saul cannot touch you while you're here with me. The Holy Spirit will protect us all. Just try and relax. We'll make a plan tonight, okay? So Samuel instructs his prophets, and they go to work, while David kind of stays somewhat, a little bit hidden over here. He's not entirely sure. So the prophets begin to sing. They are good singers. Some of them can sing really low, and some of them sing really high. Others are sort of in between. They blend their voices, and it sounds amazing. Samuel just sits there, arms folded, eyes closed. He's listening, he's tuning into heaven. He doesn't do a thing. It's beautiful. And these prophets are just singing and singing. They sing some old hymns that have been around for forever. And they sing some improvised music where they just blend their voices. And the Spirit of God is sort of moving. It's beautiful. Then some of them begin to speak psalms. Moses has written a few psalms and they speak those. Fantastic. Then some of them begin to speak words of wisdom and others begin to prophesy what God is doing in the land, what God is going to do in the land. It is just priceless, spiritual, emotional, musical, very, very special. Yes, on any other day, David would have loved to have joined in, but he's worried. What if King Saul finds out he's going to send his soldiers? And indeed, that's just what happens. Before soon, there is a bunch of soldiers on their way to Ramah. They find out Samuel is in Naioth, but even before they get to the door, they begin to feel something. They feel a little lighthearted, a little lightheaded. Oh man, what's going on? It's like they're a little bit drunk all of a sudden. Whoa, did you feel that? My, I can barely stay straight. They take off their army jackets, then they buckle their belts, their swords fall on the floor. They start laughing. Oh, what's going on? They have completely forgotten why they're even here. And before you know, they're all on the floor. They're lying there, laughing, some of them crying, some of them singing. Oh, whoa, like time no longer exists and they've forgotten all about their job or anything. David is there like, my, this is weird, this is strange, I've never seen this kind of thing. What should I do? What should I do? Well, Saul finds out that his soldiers are not coming back, so he sends a second team, a third team. They all fall slain in the spirit. And then Saul himself heads for Ramah with a few commanders, a few soldiers. Saul is going to get this David. I want to kill him today. Well, before Saul even gets to Naioth, same thing happens to him. He's a little lightheaded, a little lighthearted. Okay, where's David? He's got to be here somewhere. Then he takes off his coat, his cloak. Then he unbuckles his belt. His sword falls on the ground. Where's Samuel? Where's David? And Saul crashes to the floor. Now he's moaning, groaning, shouting, crying, all kinds of things. Saul is out for the count. The Spirit of God is working on him. And really, the king could do with this kind of thing. It's as if he's on God's operating table and the Holy Spirit is the anesthesia and God is doing a work on his heart and his mind. Saul's got a dark heart, a heart full of darkness, and a mind, a head full of lies and twisted thinking. Oh man, if he would just let God do his work, that'd be amazing. He would be a different man once he comes out of here, if only he would let God do it. Now, David has been hiding there, and he figures, I can't be staying here now. Saul is here. If he comes around, he's going to get me. Sorry, Samuel, I got to be on my way. And David is off. Now, he figures that if Saul is on the floor with Samuel, he's going to be there for another while. There is just enough time to go back to Gibeah, to the king's setup, because he wants to speak with Jonathan. So David heads for Gibeah as fast as he can. He comes in through the south gate where there's hardly anybody there ever. He walks into the king's compound, the courtyard. He goes into the servant house, and there someone spots him. David, what brings you here? Get me Jonathan, Prince Jonathan. Tell him to meet me in the olive grove just here by the south gate. And so the servant is off looking for Jonathan. David heads for the south gate. Out there, he's in the olive grove. Half an hour later, Jonathan turns up. David, what's the matter? Well, haven't you heard? Your father tried to kill me last night. He threw his javelin at me. Again, second time. And then he sent soldiers after me. He is just out of his mind, Jonathan. What are we going to do? I don't know. I can try and talk to him. But, he is who he is. So where is he now? Did you say he's at Samuel's? What's he doing there? Well, he came to Samuel because he wanted to get hold of me. But then the Spirit of God touched him, and there he was on the floor, singing, laughing, crying. So he's out for the count. Oh, but that's good news. Maybe God will do a work on him. Maybe he'll come back a changed man. Well, Jonathan, there's always hoping. Maybe. Well, you got to talk to him, Jonathan. Talk some sense into him. Because I don't know. Can I come back? I mean, the way he was last night is just awful. I know, I understand. But maybe he'll get back with Samuel. Wouldn't that be amazing? Wouldn't that just be brilliant? Yes, it would be. But I'm not sure. You talk to him, okay? So what do you want to do at the Festival of the New Moon that's just coming up? Are you going to be with us? No, I got to hear from you first. I don't think it's safe. Look, I'll be hiding here in the olive grove. I'm going to stay here. Maybe you should tell your father that I've gone to Bethlehem, okay? See how he responds. Please, talk to him and then let me know. And so that's the plan. They go their separate ways. Jonathan goes back into the palace. David hides here in the olive grove. So it is Festival of the New Moon. This is a festival that takes place once a year. And it runs over 3 days. The whole royal family gets together around the dinner table in the evening. And it's like a ceremonial meal. And that runs for 3 days, like I just said. The king is there. He sits in his seat. The queen is there. Abner, his commander. Jonathan is over there. His 2 sisters, 2 brothers. Everybody's there. But David's place is empty. That first night, the king doesn't say anything about David's place being empty. So Jonathan thinks, that's pretty good. Maybe the king has changed. Okay, I'll speak to him tomorrow, and hopefully everything will be okay, and then David can come back. Well, second night, same thing. Everyone is sitting there. The king is in his seat, his wife, Abner, everybody. David's place is empty. And then the king turns to Jonathan. Jonathan, why is the son of Jesse not here? Where is he? Oh, father, he's gone to Bethlehem to celebrate the festival with his family. He asked to be excused. I said, that'd be okay. That'd be okay? Don't you think I know that the 2 of you are conspiring against me? That son of Jesse already got you thinking that you should not be the king, but he should be king instead of you? Even while you're the crown prince? Are you out of your mind? That kid, that farmer, that shepherd from Bethlehem has charmed his way into this family. Now he's cheated his way into the army to the top, and now he's going to take the throne from us. He is a danger. He must be eliminated. Father, why are you so angry? Why do you hate him so much? He's a good man. He's my best friend. He's Michal's husband. He's one of your best commanders. Father, please let him be. He's a traitor. He must be killed. Father, no. He's God's man for us all. Leave him alone. He's the enemy. And so are you. And in that moment, Saul throws his javelin at Jonathan. Jonathan jumps away and could just manage to miss that javelin. It slams into the wall right behind him. You are destroying us all. God forbid you go on like this. And Jonathan is out the door. Now, instead of going straight to David in the olive grove, he figures the king will probably send soldiers after him. So he goes into his house. And indeed, there's soldiers everywhere. The king has ordered for them to search the grounds, find me this son of Jesse. But they don't. Jonathan waits till the night. He sleeps for a couple hours. But then he wakes up, and at 3 a.m, he sneaks out of his house. There's a few soldiers there, but they're all fast asleep. So he slips out the south gate, and he's into the olive grove. And there at first light, he finds David and gives him the bad news. I'm really sorry, but he is mad. He wants to kill you indeed. You can't go back even now. Not safe. Wow. So, life at the court is over for me? What about Michal? What about our friendship? What about my work in the army? I don't know. I don't know. Listen, I better get back before they miss me. Yeah, and I better get on my way before they find us here. So these two friends say their goodbyes. They confirm that they are friends and they will continue to be friends even though they're going to have to separate their ways. Oh, says Jonathan, look, I happen to have some silver coins on me here. Take those just in case. David receives the silver coins and they go their separate ways. Now, David is in the woods. Where's he going to go? Where's he going to go? He figures, I'll go south. I'll go to Nob, the temple there. I should speak to Ahimelech. Now, Ahimelech is the grandson of Eli, who used to be the high priest up there in Shiloh at the tabernacle. Eli was elderly. He died. The tabernacle was destroyed by the Philistines, but now the temple is based in Nob, and Ahimelech is the high priest. So David makes his way. He knocks on the door. I'm here to see Ahimelech. So someone goes to get Ahimelech, and David approaches the high priest. David, how come you're not wearing your uniform? Where are your men? You look a little rushed, a little out of breath. Are you okay? Yes, Ahimelech. I'm secret mission from the king. It was all very last minute. My men are out there in the woods waiting for me. Ahimelech, do you have any food here? What? Food? Not really. Well, I've just taken the bread off of the table, the holy bread, come off the altar. You can have that if you want to. Yes, I'll take it. Ahimelech, who's that man over there? Who is he? That's Doeg, the Edomite. Yeah, he works for the king. Why is he here? What's he doing here? Oh, he's here to get some instruction. He's an Edomite. He's not a Hebrew, so he's learning about the Hebrew faith and all of that. He's high up for the king. He looks after all the king's animals. So there you are. Ahimelech, do you have any weapons here? Weapons? No, we're a temple. Prayer is our weapon. Oh, I do have Goliath's sword here. Would you like that? Yes, I'll take it. And one more thing, Ahimelech, I need to inquire of God. Is there someone who could help me with that? Yeah, I'll go get my son, Abiathar. He can help you with that. I'll be back in a sec. And so Ahimelech disappears. And a few moments later, Abiathar arrives. Abiathar takes David into a separate room, and he's going to inquire of God for David. Now, how that works. In this environment, there are certain priests who have a special gifting to do this kind of work. They know their scriptures well. They love their God. They have proven their credentials over the years. And so they've been authorized. They can take a question from a person, they put the question to heaven, and then heaven comes back with an answer. It's amazing, but it works. So, David, what is your question? Well, Abiathar, ask heaven, will I be able to go back to Gibeah to live there in the king's compound? Okay. So, Abiathar puts the question to heaven. The answer comes back, no. You'll never go back there. Wow. Do you have any other questions? Yes? Where do I go now? Where do I hide? The question goes up. The answer comes back. Hide in nature. Heaven says, you know nature well as a shepherd. You're at home there. And heaven will guide you, will protect you, and provide for you. Okay, thank you. And so, David is off. He takes the bread, he's got Goliath's sword, and he's got an answer to his two questions. He's out the door. There he is in nature. But he's feeling insecure. He's feeling nervous. What if Saul sent his soldiers here? I'm sure Saul figures if he's not at Samuel, he's here in Nob. So he hides Goliath's sword under a tree trunk. And he's got to make a choice. And then all of a sudden, he's off. He's headed west. Where's he going? Well, he's leaving Judah. He's going into Philistine country. What's he doing there? He's going to Gath, the city of Gath, which is one of the main Philistine cities. My, what a choice. So David, he can blend in all right with the Philistines. He just walks in through one of the gates. Now, Gath is a huge city with a wall all the way around it. Lots of people there. The king of Gath, that's Achish, he has his castle there. His army is based there in the garrisons. And lots of people live here, the Philistines, and they run their business. They have markets, they are farmers, all kinds of things. At night, the gates get closed. In the daytime, everybody is busy. So David is looking around, and he finds himself a market, and then he finds himself a lute. And he buys the lute. He's got a few silver coins so he can pay for it. He takes his lute, and he heads for the king's castle. He knocks on the door. Someone opens up. He says, I'm offering my services to the king's court as a musician here. This is my instrument. Wait here, they say. And then he's invited in. The director of entertainment wants to hear you play. So David is invited into this room, and the director says, what's your name again? My name is Yusef, sir. Okay, and this is your instrument. All right, we'll sit down and let's hear what you can do. David sits down and he plays the lute. And it's very good. His music is just beautiful. And the director goes, wow, that's impressive. Well, I should tell the king about this. So the director says, you wait here. I think the king is just there in the hallway. I'll speak to him and then I'll get back to you. The director slips out the door. Now, David puts his instrument down and he goes and stands in the door, by the door. He wants to hear what's being said. Okay, sir, your majesty, sorry to bother you, but I got a young man here who's an excellent musician. He's offering his services to the court. His name is Yusef, but I think I recognize this guy. Sir, I think this is the guy who killed our Goliath giant, our champion. You might remember, sometime last year, that debacle with the Hebrews. I think that's him. I was there, sir, and I'm sure I recognize him. I don't know what's he doing here. Didn't he go on to join the king's court? Didn't he marry the king's daughter? Isn't he the one that the women sing, he's killed his tens of thousands? I mean, he's in the army. He's high up in the Hebrew kingdom, sir. I guess he's here to spy on us. You might just want to, do away with him. David, who's standing by the doorpost, realizes he's in big trouble. All of a sudden, spittle is coming from his mouth, drooling into his beard. He's beginning to scratch the door. He's beginning, blue moon. The king hears all this strange noise coming from that room over there. What's that? What kind of lunatic do we have there? Don't I have enough lunatics around me? The whole city is full of them, and you bring one of those in here? Get rid of him, throw him out. And so David gets thrown out of the king's castle into the city, and he just runs for the gate. He can't wait to get out of that city. He's out the gate, and he just keeps running away from Gath toward Judah, running into the woods, running. I mean, he just runs for half an hour. And eventually, Gath is out of sight. He's in the middle of the woods, and he finds a place to sit down. Finally, he can catch his breath and relax. Oh, my God. What a mistake I made. Going to Achish, he's one of the worst I mean, he is the enemy number one of the Hebrews. And I go straight there. What was I thinking? Thank you, God, that I got away. My. And then David realizes Samuel can't help him. Jonathan can't help him. Ahimelech can't help him. Nobody can't help him. And of course, Achish, king of Gath, is certainly not going to help him. He's going to have to put his trust in God. Now, he knows how to do that. As a shepherd, for years, he's sung all these beautiful songs. He's written all these poems. He's worshiped God. He's enjoyed God's presence right out there in the open with the sheep out there. So finally, David begins to tune into God's presence. God is here. And then a text comes to mind that he's written himself. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He restores my soul. He guides me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemy. You anoint my head with oil. My cup runs over. Surely goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Yeah. Today, tomorrow, forever. Oh, and finally, David's got some peace, of the peace of God in his heart. And then a word drops into his head, Adullam. Adullam? Adullam? Adullam! Of course, the caves of Adullam. That's not even far from here. Perfect for hiding. Oh, thank you, God. And so David is off to the caves of Adullam, just on the border between Philistia and Judah. And there in Adullam, he looks around, and he finds a cave that is just perfect for hiding. There's a little river there. There's some wildlife, some rabbits, some hares, ducks, maybe some pheasants. I mean, he could easily live here for months. And then the next day, he realizes it could be that his family is in trouble. It could be that Saul sends his soldiers to Bethlehem to arrest the whole family. Saul could threaten to kill them if David doesn't hand himself over to Saul. Okay, so David just runs to Bethlehem. That's a few hours run. He gets there, he doesn't go to the farm, but he goes into the fields where his father's flocks are being kept. He speaks to the shepherds there, and then one of the shepherds goes to the farm to tell them, leave there immediately. Saul might threaten us. Come to Adullam where David is hiding. And the whole family joins David in Adullam. Then there is other men who are also on the run from King Saul. You see, if you can't pay your taxes, for instance, the king is going to come at you with great force. The king is being very harsh with lots of people. And so they are running away from the king. And David sends the word out, if you're running away from King Saul, come to me, join me in Adullam. And scripture tells us that in the space of just a few weeks, 400 men joined David there in Adullam. And David doesn't waste any time. He takes them into training right away. They train sword fighting. They train fighting with a stick. They train fighting with a dagger. They train all kinds of fighting and wrestling and man-to-man combat. And these men are just loving it. Oh man, this is great. This feels really good. They are getting united. They are getting really strong together. This is the beginning of David's army. And some of these men will go on to be famous, the mighty warriors of David. Now, that word that's gone out, if you're on the run from King Saul, come to Adullam, that word reaches Saul in Gibeah. Of course, Adullam. Abner, take 500 soldiers there, search those caves, get him, and kill him. I mean, get hold of him. I want him dead or alive. And so Abner is off to Adullam. But David has a prophet with him there in Adullam, a man called Gad, G-A-D. And Gad says to David, I had a dream, David, and in my dream, Saul's soldiers came here, Adullam, because they are searching us. I think you need to leave here quickly. David understands this is urgent. So instantly he gives a command. Let's get out of here. Everybody, pack your stuff instantly. We've got to be out here within minutes. And so all 400 men leave Adullam instantly. They head for the forest of Hereth, which lies to the south of Adullam. Saul's men arrive there. They search all the caves all day long. They find nothing. And so they go back to Gibeah to report to the king. King Saul is having a day with his commanders and other people who are in charge over the king's affairs. And the king is moaning about the son of Jesse. Yeah, he's conspiring against me. You never know. You can't trust anybody anymore nowadays. Everybody's conspiring against me. They're plotting to kill me. The king is paranoid. I mean, he talks about it all the time. It's all irrational. It's just sort of out of hand, you know. Now, Doeg the Edomite happens to be there because he's one of the king's workers. And he thinks, oh, maybe I should tell Saul about seeing David there at the temple of Nob when he was talking to Ahimelech. So, the Edomite informs the king of what he's seen. Saul is infuriated. So even Ahimelech is plotting against me. Can you believe it? The high priest wants me dead. Abner, go and arrest him right away. Bring all the priests here. And there's 85 priests there in Nob. So Abner is off with his army. They take a bunch of wagons with them. All the priests get arrested. Ahimelech gets arrested. They all get put into these wagons, and then they are taken to Gibeah. And these wagons are driven right into the king's courtyard. And then the priests are herded out of these wagons. Get out, get out, get out, stand over there, get out, get out. Now, in that moment, another cart arrives through the gates with provisions for the king's kitchen. And so there's a moment of confusion. The soldiers are sort of just distracted for a minute or two. Well, in that moment, one of the priests, Abiathar, climbs out of the cart and suddenly disappears under the cart and hides himself there. And he stays there for a good long time. All the priests are now out of the wagons. They're all standing there, all 85. The gates get closed. There's lots of soldiers here, and there's a high wall all the way around. Then Saul comes out of his house. Ahimelech, you are plotting to kill me. You're conspiring with that son of Jesse against me. You have given him food. You've given him weapons. Sir, I'm your faithful servant. Sir, I am your faithful servant. Sir, I'm not aware of any plot against you. Isn't David the most trusted member of your household? He's captain of your guard. He's a commander in your army, sir. I acted in good faith. You are lying, Ahimelech. You are trying to kill me. You've even inquired of God for this son of Jesse. Sir, we inquire of God regularly for him. I've done it several times over the last few months. Sir, I had no idea of a plot against you. My conscience is entirely clear. Isn't David the most trusted man in the whole kingdom, apart from yourself, of course, sir? Nice words, Ahimelech. You're a traitor. You are trying to get me killed. You deserve to die. Guards, kill this man. Well, the guards stand there, but nobody moves a muscle. I mean, this is a priest. You're not going to kill a priest. let alone the high priest. Besides, it's quite obvious that the man is innocent. He has no idea. Then Saul turns to Doeg, the Edomite. Edomite, come over here. You kill him. Now the Edomite, he thinks, oh, this is a great opportunity to, make it with the king, get into his inner circle. So he draws his sword and he plunges it into Ahimelech. Ahimelech sinks to the ground, dying. His blood seeping into the grass. Then the king says to Doeg, Edomite, kill them all, right now. And so the Edomite goes to work. He kills one priest after the next. These priests don't even try and fight back. I mean, they're surrounded by soldiers. There's a high wall there. There they are standing in their priestly robes, and they just wait for the Edomite to come to them with his sword. The king walks away, and the priest's blood seeps into the grass. Well, that blood calls out to heaven for heaven's judgment, and that judgment will come. And when it comes, it will be severe. It's a dark day for the Hebrew kingdom. It's a day in which a turn is taken, and it's a terrible day. So, in the evening, all the priests are laid out on the grass. Soldiers have disappeared. Nothing much else has happened. Night comes, and then, late at night, under cover of darkness, the one priest, Abiathar, who hid under the cart, comes out from under the cart, sneaks away, gets to the wall, finds a place where he can climb up the wall, jumps over the wall, and he's away. He figures he's got to find David. Perhaps he's in Bethlehem. He's heard about Bethlehem. So he runs right through the night, first thing in the morning. He arrives in Bethlehem. He's asking, David, Jesse, does anybody? Oh, well, yes, everybody in Bethlehem knows Jesse, and they know about David, but they're not here. They're in the cave of Adullam. So Abiathar runs to Adullam. He gets there a few hours later, and he looks around, but nobody there. But David has spies out in the area, to keep an eye on what goes on. And one of his spies spots Abiathar. And in the end, he brings that Abiathar to David, who's in the forest of Hereth, hiding there in the thick of the woods. When David hears what has happened, he is just shocked. That is horrendous. Saul has killed your father. He's killed all the priests. Oh my God, that is just unbelievable. That is just so awful. Oh, I feel terrible. And it was through me. I feel like I made this happen. I was there. I asked your father for help, and now he's killed. But Abiathar says to David, it's not your fault. You didn't do this. You didn't ask for this. You didn't even tell my father about the madness of King Saul. You did nothing wrong. Then David says, well, why don't you stay here? At least you're safe with us, and you can help me inquire of heaven, of God for us at certain times. Okay, Abiathar will stay. Then something else happens. One of David's scouts brings in a man who's kind of very rushed, out of breath, in a panic. David, you got to help us. I'm from the village of Keilah, just a couple of miles up the road. We're being raided by the Philistines. About 70, 80 Philistines. They suddenly pounce on the village. They've closed all the gates. The men are all locked up. The women have been herded into a corner. They're taking all of our stuff. They're using our own carts. They're taking the harvest, everything of value, all of our equipment. They're even going to take some of the women. David, please, if you come now, you can stop them. Now, David recognizes this plea. When he was in the army, he's dealt with this kind of raiding party several times. He has pounced on Philistine raiders and stop them in their tracks. And he's all geared up. Oh yes, let's go stop these raiders. But then he realizes it could be a trap. Maybe Saul has set a trap for him. Better be careful here. So Abiathar, please come quickly. Ask heaven, is this a trap? Should I go to Keilah? Will I have victory? Question goes up. Answer comes back. It's not a trap. Go to Keilah. I'll give you victory. Excellent. Okay, men, I need volunteers. 200, 300, something like this. Who is going to come with me? Let's go to Keilah. Well, these men are all of a sudden rather insecure. Well, yeah, David, we've never been in the army. We've never fought Philistines. They're ferocious fighters, aren't they? I'm not sure if we can manage this. David realizes he needs to inquire of God again in some other way. Abiathar, ask heaven. Will heaven give us together victory in Keilah? The question goes up. Answer comes back. Heaven says, yes, I will use you all to liberate Keilah. And all of a sudden there is a sense of faith among these men. They feel like God has spoken to them. They are faithful. They are believing for victory there in Keilah. And they get excited. David, we'll all come with you. And all of a sudden, all of them want to come with David. So they just run for Keilah. Run, 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 run. They get to Keilah. They surround the city. They lock all the gates. They look over the wall. And indeed, look, there they are. They're almost ready, these Philistines. They've loaded up a ton of gear. Some of the women are on the carts. They're going to disappear any moment now. Then one of the gates is being opened, and David and his men just pounce on these Philistines. They just thrash them. They kill half of them. The other half run off. All the goods are still here. The women are here. Nobody's lost. Whoa, what a relief. The men get taken out of their lockup. The women come out. The children are here. The villagers are delighted. You saved us. Thank you, David. Thank you, men. Whoa, you have saved us. Oh, everything is here. We're okay. And then they just throw a party for David's men, these villagers. They pull out all kinds of food items. There's a sausage, there's eggs, there's bread, there's cakes, there's meat, there's all kinds of things, and fruits and nuts and drinks, and they just throw like one big picnic. And all of David's men are just loving it. They're all eating and drinking and laughing and having such a good time. But David thinks, we better be careful. What's going on next? Abiathar, ask heaven, has Saul heard about this? Saul has spies up and down the country. Is Saul headed this way? The question goes up. Answer comes back. Yes, Saul is aware of this liberation already. He is on his way here. Wow, man. So David gives instruction. We got to get out of here instantly. All the men quickly scramble together. They grab some food items, this and that, and they're out of there. Now, instead of going back to the forest of Hereth, which is next door to Keilah, David figures Saul might just search the area. We better take some further distance. So David goes further south into the wilderness of Ziph. Ziph is a town, and then south of that town there's a big wilderness, a great place for hiding. Saul is on his way to Keilah. He hears about it, and when he hears it, he is delighted. Isn't Keilah a town with a wall all the way around it? Fantastic. We'll surround the town. We'll go in. We're going to get him. I'm going to kill him today. And Saul jumps in his horse. Abner is there, and they take 1,000 soldiers, and they are off to Keilah as fast as they can. But even before they get to Keilah, Saul receives word David has left the town. Oh, man, he's escaped us again. Saul doesn't even bother to go to Keilah, but he figures there's a good chance that David will be hiding in the forest of Hereth, which is just south of Keilah. So Saul spends his day, and these 1,000 soldiers comb the whole of the forest of Hereth. But they do not find anything. And Saul is annoyed. Abner, how come we're too late every time? How come he keeps escaping? We got to be more onto this. Abner, you got to help me better. Come on now, what are we going to do? And Abner says, sir, maybe we should speak to the town elders of Ziph over here. They know the area. We got to organize some extra spies. And I imagine one of these days, they'll spot David. Then we have really good information, and we're going to jump on that. Okay, well, let's go to Ziph then. Let's go speak to these elders. So the king and Abner pay a visit to the town elders of Ziph, and the king wants information. He said, I'll reward you richly, but I got to have good information on when that son of Jesse is hiding. Well, the town elders are delighted. Yes, your majesty. Oh, yeah, we'll gladly do this for you. We know the wilderness well. Give us a couple of days, and we should spot them, and we'll get back to you right away. So the king stations his 1,000 soldiers just outside of Ziph. He's going to wait there. He sends Abner back to Gibeah. Get the other 2,000 soldiers, bring them here right away. And indeed, 2 days later, the men of Ziph have spotted some of David's men in the wilderness. They sent word to the king. Well, the king jumps on his horse, and all these soldiers, 3,000 of them, kick into action. And Saul insists, we're going to comb this whole area, this wilderness of Ziph. We're going to check every hiding place. We're going to make sure he's not here, not there. We're going to get him. Now we're on to it. And Saul can feel with 3,000 soldiers, I'm going to get him. Just give me a few more hours, a couple more days, and I'm going to get him. Now, David has his spies out, and he's told the king is closing in on us. We've got to go further south. So, south of the wilderness of Ziph is another wilderness called the wilderness of Maon. David moves in there with his men, but he keeps hearing Saul is closing in. Saul is closing in further south. Now, there is a bit of a problem. Beyond the wilderness of Maon, there's just desert. And you can't hide in the desert. It's right open. So David's men say to him, David, where are we going to go from there if Saul keeps pushing south? Where do we go? Well, there is one option. There's this huge rock, very much in the south of Maon, just on the edge to the desert, a massive rock. Call it a rocky mountain. It's like a mountain, but all rock. And David and his men end up on the southern side of that rock. So this whole rocky mountain keeps them out of sight from King Saul. King Saul with his troops are on the other side, but they're closing in. They're closing in. And then Saul sends his men around the mountain, but he also keeps a squadron right by him. Saul wants to cover the entire side of the mountain, and he's closing in on David. David hears from his scouts, the king's soldiers are closing in. We got to get out of here, David. We either go down into the desert or we go up. What do you want to do? David says, let's go up. We're going to go up. And so David and his 600 men go up the mountain, up this rock mountain. They climb and climb and climb and climb. Eventually they get to the top, and there's a sort of a flat surface up the top and just enough room for 600 men to kind of hide. Because if you're up the top there, someone on the side cannot see you. And Saul's soldiers are now all the way around the mountain. Any moment now, Saul is going to give them the instruction to climb up. David, what we're going to do? I mean, there's like 3,000 soldiers out there, and there's 600 of us. What, are we going to have to fight here on this top of this mountain? David said, I don't know. Maybe God will give us a way out. What else can we do? If we could grow wings, we'd just fly. Oh, God, what do we do? And David is praying, God, give us a miracle. Oh, God, give us a miracle. Send us a big cloud. We could do a cloud cover. Maybe a cloud will cover us. Or send us a thunderstorm, and maybe Saul's soldiers will just be washed down this mountain. Oh, God, give us a miracle. It looks like David is running out of options. What's he going to do? I'll tell you next time.